Guys, and welcome into the Imperfect Messenger. This is Matthew chapter 22, called, chosen, and aligned. Matthew chapter 22 exposes three critical realities. Not everyone who is invited is prepared, not everyone who questions truth is seeking truth, and not everyone who knows Scripture understands God. This chapter forces us to confront, am I truly aligned with God or just familiar with Him? So starting off with Matthew 22, 1 through 2, it says, And Jesus answered and spake unto them again by parables, and said, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. So this is a picture of God as the king, Jesus as the son, the invitation as salvation. So moving on to verse 3, it says, And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. So the first group rejects the invitation, not because they couldn't, but because they wouldn't. Moving on to 4 through 5, it says, And again he sent forth other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. So this is dangerous. They didn't hate the invitation, they trivialized it. So the deep insight for this is most people don't reject God aggressively. They reject him passively by distraction, by busyness, and by indifference. Verse 6 through 10 says, And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city. Then saith he to his servants, The wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. So the servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. So the invitation expands, and the kingdom is open to all. 11 through 13 says, And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment. And he saith unto him, Friend, how camest thou in hither, not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servant, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen. So this man accepted the invitation, but rejected the preparation. And then verse 14, For many are called, but few are chosen. The empowerment insight here is calling is an invitation. Being chosen is about alignment and readiness. You don't just accept the call, you prepare for it. Verse 15 says, Then went the Pharisees and took counsel out how they might entangle him in this talk. So this is not a genuine question, it is a trap. Verse 16 through 17 says, And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? So if Jesus says yes, he looks compromised. If he says no, he looks rebellious. Verse 18 through 21 says, But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, Why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money. And they brought unto him a penny. And he saith unto them, Whose is this image and superscription? They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. So, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God. The deep insight here, Jesus doesn't choose sides, he reveals the higher truth. The empowerment principle, not every question deserves a simple answer. Wisdom discerns motives, not just words. And then verse 22 through 23 says, when they had heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him. So they deny spiritual reality, yet they attempt to debate it. 24 through 29 says, saying, Master Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother. Now there were with us 7 brethren, and the first, and when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother, likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all the women died also. Therefore in the resurrection whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. Jesus answered and said unto them, Ye do err, not knowing the Scriptures, nor the power of God. For in the resurrection they neither marry, nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have ye not read that which was spoken unto you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. But when the Pharisees had heard that they had put the Sadducees to silence, they were gathered together. Then one of them, which was the lawyer, asked him a question, tempting him, and saying, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So this is powerful. 2 sources of error: lack of scripture and lack of understanding God's power. Verse 32 said God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. So God operates beyond human limitation. The insight on this: you can be intellectually sharp and spiritually wrong. Matthew verse 36 said, Master, which is the great commandment in the law? And 37 through 39, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Verse 40 says, on these 2 commandments hang all the law and the prophets. The deep insight to this is everything God requires flows from love, not performance, not fear. Love. Empowerment principle here: alignment with God is not about doing more, it's about loving deeper. Matthew 41 through 42 says, while the Pharisees were gathered together, Jesus asked them, saying, What think ye of Christ? Whose son is he? They say unto him, The son of David. So they answer, The son of David. And then, so verse 43 through 46 says, He saith unto them, How then doth David in spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord saith unto my Lord, Sit thou on my right hand, till I make thine enemies thy footstool. If David then called him Lord, how is he his son? And no man was able to answer him a word, neither durst any man from that day forth ask him any more questions. So Jesus reveals a deeper truth here. He is not just David's descendant, he is David's Lord. Verse 46, neither durst any man ask him any more questions. The questioning stops after this. Authority is already established. The major themes of Matthew chapter 22: invitation is not the same as preparation. Indifference can be more dangerous than rejection. Wisdom discerns hidden motives. Knowledge without power leads to error. Love is the foundation of all obedience. Jesus operates with unmatched authority. The imperfect messenger principle: so you may be invited but feel unprepared. Face people who question your faith, encounter intellectual challenges, and struggle to balance truth and love. But here's the truth: God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for alignment, discernment, and love-driven obedience. For the final challenge, I want you guys to ask yourself, have I truly prepared for what God has called me to do? Am I treating God's invitation casually? Do I discern motives or just respond emotionally? Is my relationship with God rooted in love or obligation? Matthew chapter 22 teaches this. Many are invited, but only those aligned in heart, truth, and love are chosen. I want to thank you guys for joining me on the Imperfect Messenger for Matthew chapter 22. And if this message or this chapter resonated with you, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next episode for Matthew chapter 23. Thanks, guys. Go forth and be blessed.